Hello, 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 amigas, and welcome to Amiga and Your Ship podcast. Okay, so I just have this wonderful soul in front of me. There's so much I can talk about, but I'm gonna let it ride because girls, you're in for an amazing treat, especially because this episode is gonna drop in the month of June, which happens to be Pride Month. And she has a tremendous story, and I'm just grateful that she has the time to come here and talk to us about is it called the Dinah? Is it the
Yes, the
Dinah thing?
Dinah. That's
The
my new
Dinah.
venture. Yes.
Woo! Okay, so I was like, does it say Dina or Dinah? And I'm like, and I kept pronouncing it. I'm like, Dinah, Dinah. But anyhow, amiga, so let me say something. So she's an entrepreneur. She's a TV personality, a reality TV personality. She is an ovarian cancer survivor and the
Yes.
co-owner of the Dinah. And before we get into all the accolades, we know that she's Latina, Boricua,
Boricua.
and
I'm
Boricua. So
Boricua
we,
and half Salvadoranian.
so no way. Oh,
Yes.
and okay, so that's even a story. Like, how did that happen?
New York. My parents met
Oh,
in New York City.
oh, nice,
Un
nice.
verano en
Okay.
Nueva York.
Yes, yes. So let's talk about that. So your parents met in New York City.
Yes. So my mom, I was raised more by the Puerto Rican side of my family. So I identify, I mean, I'm Latina, but I grew up Boricua, that's how it
Yes.
is. But my parents met in their teens in New York. And, if you're from El Salvador or from Puerto Rico, if you're not married by 18, you're old. You're an old maid. That's how it was back in the day. So they got
Right,
married
right.
very young. They had my sister and myself. My sister was born in New York. I was born here in Los Angeles when my family moved to the West Coast because one of
Okay.
my tios bought a Kentucky Fried Chicken, hit the lotto with that venture, and moved the whole family west.
No
And
way.
yeah, that's how it is, from Puerto Rico to New York and then to Los Angeles.
To Los Angeles. So you're in LA, so everybody's in LA.
Everybody's in LA. We do have some family still in New York, a ton in Puerto Rico and in Florida.
Okay. Okay, so did you go to school here in LA?
I did. I'm born and raised
Okay.
in LA. I went to school in LA. I lived here my whole life. I still have
Oh
a
my.
little bit of that New York flavor because I was raised by a New Yorican.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm born and raised in Los Angeles.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so amiga, so I was reading through your bio and I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
And I want to let's talk about you and real estate. And I know that that has been a huge part of your business. So, how did you get involved with real estate?
That's a funny story because a tia of mine, who's a Cubana, actually, she was married to my uncle, and she hired me as an intern when I was a teenager.
Oh,
And so I worked with her at the age of 19, fresh out of high school, and I loved it. But then pursued a different direction, went to school and got into accounting with the school district, and it always kind of called me back. I loved helping people. I loved the business. And when I got into my early 20s is when I decided to pursue it full time. And luckily, because of my springboard career from LA Unified School District, I had a built-in network. So I
yeah.
started helping all of my, colleagues and coworkers buy and sell homes. So it was kind of
Yeah.
an easy transition for me already having that book of business.
Yeah, and I mean, I know a lot of women and men in real estate, and I know that when I was part of this group called BNI. I don't know if you're familiar. Business National, what is it? Business National, no, Business Networking International. That was the acronym. And everyone that was in real estate were like reporting all these thousands of dollars. And here I am, I'm this little lawyer, and I'm like, uh, thank you for closed business of $1,000. And they're reporting $100,000. And I'm like, why am I a lawyer when I when I can go into real
Real
estate?
Real estate does
Oh,
make a lot of money, but then we are as attorneys. You're kind of commission based, right? Unless you're working
yeah,
for a firm or you have some sort of salary, you're sort of on your own, and you're under your own recognizance of making your own business and making it work for yourself. And
yeah,
for me, like I love the retail side of it, of buying and selling homes and helping people accomplish that dream of owning a home, which is so
yeah.
difficult these days and not as easy as it was even when I first started this business.
Right.
And in the middle of that, I started, doing more entrepreneurial work and purchasing homes, renovating them myself, doing mini developments, and taking it to the next step, and sort of living that American dream of entrepreneurship,
Right.
of making as much money as I could to do fun things like invest into the Dinah and other businesses. I also own a nightclub in Hollywood as well. So that business allowed me to do a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, no, I can imagine that opened up the a plethora of opportunities. And
Absolutely. It's a
especially,
lot of hard
especially
work.
yeah, I bet. Oh my
Yeah.
God. So let's get into, okay, so here you are in real estate and you're making your money, you're making your mark. And I know that the Dinah has been running. Why don't you do this? Explain to us what the Dinah is for those amigas out there that are not familiar with it.
Yeah. So the Dinah is a 35-year queer women's music festival. It's been around for 35 years, spearheaded by Mariah Hansen, who's the founder and originator of the event. And as a young Latina queer person, I was going, in my early 20s, would have fun, have a great time. And through that, we became friends. So, Mariah and I became friends throughout my patronage. And then when I did the reality show, I segued into a patron, into being a host and hosting the event, hosting the parties, the pool parties, being the life of the party, all that good stuff. So it sort of evolved into this different, realm of my, from an attendee to then a host, and then now a
Yeah.
co-owner of the event when she decided to step down and retire.
Yeah, well that's very impressive and it's been in existence for 35 years, which is
35
incredible.
years. She was
30
around before Coachella, and she was
Oh my
doing it
God.
in April. And it was kind of like people,
Wow.
she gets her flowers and people give her props for what she's done. But when you look at, back then, 35 years ago, doing this event for, queer women, for sapphic women, that was like not heard of. And they would
Groundbreaking. Groundbreaking.
Absolutely. It kind of still is. And they would come from all over the world. When I went there as a young, Latina queer person, I never met, people like me from London or from, Germany or
Yeah.
Australia. I didn't
Yeah.
have the money to travel to those places. So meeting all of these people that would congregate in this one space was honestly really special. And
Yeah.
I made friends from all over the world, and it was one of those things that didn't exist and still doesn't exist. There are other festivals, but nothing to this magnitude, and
Yeah.
that's has this worldwide recognition like the Dinah does.
Yeah, no, I mean it's very impressive. So you can compare it to like Coachella. I mean it's that huge. Wow.
Yes.
And the next one I believe is in September or
Yes,
October.
we do have it from
Okay.
September 30th to October 4th. So it starts on a Wednesday and it ends that Sunday, and we have a bunch of activations. We're bringing back comedy, which is a big thing. We're activating two hotels. So we have the Hilton, which is where they do
Uh-huh.
the pool parties, the craziness. It's like a lot of fun. It's insane in a good way. And then we
Yeah.
have Zoso. Yeah, then we activated another hotel and another pool, which is going to be more like health and wellness and some pool
Oh.
games. So those of you that want to do yoga, do some exercise, we're going to have that for the morning time. They'll have some pool games. It'll be a little bit more tame. We'll
Yeah,
have
yeah.
an NA bar and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And then when they want to turn up, they can go to the Hilton.
You get
Yeah,
the best of both
the
worlds.
best of both
You're like
worlds.
you're like Zen and let's party.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness, how fun. And so you said something that kind of like I'm like, "Oh, okay, we got to get into this because you mentioned that this led into a reality show. So let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it.
I actually watched the L word, the first L word. I think I was living at the time in San Francisco, I believe. And then the new age L word came out as well. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And I watched that one too. And I know that your life is depicted in that version. So
Yes.
how did it all begin? Because this is mind-blowing to me. How?
Yeah, our community, as big as it is, it's also small. And
Yeah.
in LA, where kind of the hustle and bustle of our, lesbian life is, I met the creator of the L Word, Eileen Chaikin, who now is a
Yeah.
really good friend of mine. And the way that worked out was they would do the screenings of the show at this particular bar in LA, and
Which
everybody would.
one?
It was called the Falcon back in the day. I don't.
Okay.
It doesn't
Okay.
exist anymore.
No
And my
more.
friend Linda Fusco, who's a big, amazing production event producer out here in LA, she would do this event. It was really high end. It was beautiful. She would have the screen, and then we would all go there to watch, the L Word. And Eileen would come every once in a while to sort of see how people were responding to her show. And I was
Yeah.
introduced to her by mutual friends. We became really good friends. And she actually ended up marrying a good friend of mine, Luann, and they're still together to this day, decades later. And yeah, she kind of used me for research because she wanted to integrate more Latina characters into the show.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's how that
Hey,
all came about. And yeah, it was interesting because I took her to this bar in East LA called Red's Bar that still exists to this day in Boyle
okay.
Heights. And I'm
Okay.
like, you're gonna
And
get
and
the
that's
real.
but is this is like a Latina queer bar? Is this
It's
more
it's
focused?
now I think it's a full gay Latina, both, just a full on queer bar. But I took
Yeah.
her there, and I mean, we're talking like, rancheros with the, belt buckles and the hats, and it's like
The
it's like
Tejanas.
and the cholos and everything. It was like
Wow.
straight up Boyle Heights. It's a very, very
Wow.
famous, popular bar in the Latino community. It's still there. And
Yeah.
I took her there, and I'm like, if you really want to know like what's up, I got to take you to where it's at. And I took her there, and she was like, I would never know this existed. And I said, yes, there's more to, gay life than just Hollywood. And I love
Yeah.
that she opened herself up to seeing what our community, has, and the people, and connecting with them, and seeing, the different culture in gay life. And I thought that was really
Right.
awesome that she was open to that and came out to East
Right.
LA with me. And we did that, and we
No.
ended up going to another bar, Dreams, which is no longer there anymore, in Silver Lake. We did a little tour of all the Latino bars, and that was one of the most
Okay.
memorable moments. And from that, she had a writer. Her head writer was in the limousine with us at the time. We had a limo, and they
Uh-huh.
started writing this character, and that's how that came about. And then, when the reality show came to fruition, she's like, I'm going to film you for one day, and I don't know what's going to come about. And if we feel we can piece together a storyline here, then
Yeah.
we'll let you know. And they filmed me on a Sunday, and I had like a softball game. I went to go visit my family, and they saw a story, and they decided that the representation needed to be shown. And to have a full-on Catholic family with a queer granddaughter daughter was
Yeah.
really important to show, because we're even though it's sort of, people don't see the connection, how it is in our Latino roots. Religion is a big thing, and
Right.
that's kind of the way my family was. They believe, they're full on Catholics, but they love me, and
Yeah.
they are able to coincide the two and accept who I am as a person, and love me for who I am,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
still feel like they're not compromising their religious beliefs. And that was something that was really important for us to show.
Yeah, that's beautiful because oftentimes it's quite the opposite.
Yes.
And especially I know, I mean, I'm my age, I'm 52 and I
Oh
have
wow, you look
relatives.
great. Yeah. What's it about?
Thank you. And we have relatives and it was really tough to come out, to
Yeah.
even vocalize that they were gay and to have that portrayal. in such a huge show. I think that's a blessing, and it's so important to highlight that there is acceptance
Yes.
also. Not just
Yes.
not just to be ostracized, but there also that willingness to love, and that in the end, you're my kid and I love you no matter what.
And that's exactly how we portray. That's exactly how it is, honestly.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
even as a Latina, Catholic, a lot of people, part of my connection to my family, my elders, is religion, right?
yeah,
That's part of
yeah,
that connection. So I think it was important for us to show that, because a lot of times people feel it's either or, and I don't think
yeah.
that's really necessary. And I
No,
think love
no,
is love, and believing in a higher power and whatever it is that connects you with your family.
yeah,
Love supersedes all of the negative stigmas that are attached to that. And
right.
I think we did a really good job of showing that. And I did get a lot of messages, and when I would go out and do appearances, a lot of people would resonate with that and say,
Yeah,
you guys gave me the courage to come out, and I wasn't scared, and my mom
yeah,
or dad accepted me, or my grandparents accepted me, and that meant a lot, and it made it all feel
yeah.
like it was worth it.
Oh no, for sure, for sure. I mean, there's so much that we can discuss even with that statement. Um,
Yes.
but before we even delve into that, it's at the tip of my tongue. I'm like, okay, your character is Papi. So how is that truly how you are? Like, because
I
I mean, I was
was. That's truly how I was.
I
Obviously,
well, you're like a player president.
being
Yes.
young and wild and out in the scene, and all that good stuff was part of who I was as a person. Seeing myself on reality TV, you go one of two ways. You either lean into it and you get
Yeah.
even crazier, or you sort of assess your behaviors and
Yeah.
go a different way. And I chose to assess my behaviors and go a different way, and sort of grow up a little bit from that
Yeah.
experience, which I think was the right way. And I'm happy. I'm happy for it, because it made me
Yeah.
grow. Without
Right.
seeing myself, I probably would be out in the streets still philandering out there. So
No, I mean, seriously, I think age has a lot to do with that
I
as
agree.
we mature. So, and then also, I mean, just they asked me, let's go out. I'm like, what time are we gonna go out? I'm 52. I'm like, man, because I like to be in my bed. I don't-
Life changes, right? Our priorities change.
Yeah,
For me now, like, turning up is going to a nice dinner as opposed
yeah,
to going to a club. Even
yeah,
though, now I own a nightclub, and then I own, co-own one of the biggest, festivals in the world, in the queer
right.
community. I still like to party, but it's in a
Yeah,
different way. It's more like
yeah,
a celebration of people
yeah.
versus, drinking a bottle of 1942.
Yeah, that's right. So now that you mentioned about the club, tell us a little bit about your club.
Yeah, so I own actually, it's a really famous club in Hollywood called Dragonfly. It's been around
Oh,
for also over 30 years. It used to be a live music venue. There's been, like, a ton of rock bands that performed there back in the day. Sort
okay.
of similar, if you think of the Roxy, the Troubadour,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Whiskey.
yeah.
It's sort of like in East Hollywood, so we always consider it like their stepbrother in the East Side.
Okay.
We've had Stone Temple Pilots, Alanis Morissette, all these big rock bands in the 90s that used to perform there. And then
Okay.
it sort of became now more of a nightclub vibe. So my partner and
Okay.
I decided to take on the venture, and it's and bring it back, bring the glory days
Yeah.
back to Hollywood. So we've been working really hard on doing that as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you know, I I don't know if this is a hallucination that I have, but I hear that the Gen Z culture, they're not into this, the bars and the drinking. I mean, what's your perception on that?
They
Are
are
there,
they're not really big drinkers. They're more active, doing active or activations, but
yeah.
because we still have a lot of millennials, and there is,
Uh-huh.
my club is more like hip hop based and more like of a club vibe.
Yeah.
That hip hop culture still does bottle pop, still does drink, still does party, all of that stuff. So I
Okay.
think it's a, there's a big percentage that doesn't drink anymore. They're more
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
vaping or doing other things.
Right.
But we're still busy and it's still
But
popping.
you're
Yeah.
still busy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That good because
Yeah.
I mean, I like clubs even though I'm 52. I mean,
Yeah.
I like dancing, I love vibing. I love the whole thing.
And when we have Latino
And
parties, they go crazy. Yeah.
I know.
They still
Oh my God.
drink. Doesn't matter what
Yeah.
age.
Oh my goodness. No, I
Yeah.
can imagine. And then the festivals, woo, ni se diga.
Yeah.
I mean, so okay, so did the purchase of the Dinah come before the club or what came first?
I purchased the club first,
Okay.
over I think a year and a half ago, and then the Dinah. I wasn't really looking to purchase it. What ended up happening was my name was kind of getting dropped into the conversation when Mariah decided to sell by different parties. So then
Yeah.
I thought about it, and I'm like, well, if there's several people sort of putting my name in the room, I need to, really consider this.
Right.
And one of the one who's my partner now, Bella, she
Uh-huh.
has ran production for Dinah for over a decade, and she
Okay.
was pursuing the purchase separately.
Okay.
And
Uh-huh.
when her partners and things didn't work out the way, the direction she was going, I approached her and said we should team up because she's one of the most brilliant producers I've ever met, hardworking.
Yeah.
I just felt it would be a very good fit. And thankfully, I was right. We work really well together. We complement each other.
Yeah.
We're both, super hard workers. I haven't met anybody that works just as hard as I do, if not more. And
Yeah.
she's one of those people that does. So
Oh,
we decided to join forces and go after it. And thankfully, we ended up winning the bid and getting the Dinah.
oh my goodness. That's fun. That's amazing. She's also Latina?
No, 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 she's not. No.
Okay. Okay. But now, is she a business partner or she's both business and love partner?
No, she's just a business partner. She's
Okay.
actually married. She's actually married.
She's married. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I'm always curious. I always want to know.
Yeah, no, no, no. She's just a business partner. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
she's a
Well,
dear friend. I could say I love her dearly because she's amazing. She's
mm,
a very good friend. And we've
okay.
had a blast. Like I have so many other business partnerships and they're great, but I've
Yeah.
never, like I said, met someone who really like gets down and dirty and works as hard as she does. And I admire
Yeah.
that because I would always come home and say, man, I'm over here grinding harder than anyone in the room.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
one of the first times that I have someone that grinds just as hard as I do.
Nice. Nice. It's
Yeah.
so nice to have an equal
Oh,
in something,
absolutely.
there's that synergy, that vibe that you can't erase.
Yes.
And and that's wonderful to see, especially with Latinos. And wow, bravo, congratulations on
Thank you.
that.
Thank you.
So you've done so many amazing things, and I would be remiss if I don't talk about a scare that you had in your life, because there's a lot of women out there who have suffered and survived cancer, and I'd love for you to
Absolutely.
share if it's not too intrusive.
Oh, no, of course. I love to share it because it brings awareness. And
Okay.
especially as Latinas,
Yeah.
we're sort of equipped with this strength to kind of deal with it and push on, right? Like if you feel
Yeah.
something or if you don't feel good, it's kind of like, oh, adelante, like push forward, just move on,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of what happened with me. I was feeling a little not myself and I was making excuses for it, thinking maybe I'm working too hard. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
not getting enough sleep. Maybe I just pushed myself a little bit too much and putting off going to the doctor, which is something that we all do, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
finally, when I got to the point where, and I'll say it because people don't realize ovarian cancer's called a silent killer because by the time you get
Yes.
any symptoms, it's usually very late. Um,
Yes.
and what was happening was I started feeling, a bit of soreness on my left hip. And I'm like, oh,
Uh-huh.
I wonder if it's because I slept wrong or,
Right.
making
Right.
all these excuses. And
Right. Right.
then, one morning I woke up and my tummy was really swollen. And I said, this isn't normal. So I went to urgent care, and urgent care was like, no, you have to go to emergency. And when I went to emergency, right away they did an ultrasound. And when they did the ultrasound, they saw that there was abnormal findings. So
Yeah.
then they said, you need to wait and we're going to do a CT scan. And the
Right.
moment they did the CT scan is when they found tumors, and they gave me a business card to an oncologist, and they're like, call this guy
Oh my.
tomorrow. And that was it. And I was like,
Oh my God.
yeah,
Like no information like
nothing,
oh
because they
oh
can't
wow.
technically, tell you it's cancer because they have to,
Right.
do a
Proof.
biopsy and check it out.
Right.
The only reason why I was a little bit more privy to what was going on is because my grandmother had ovarian cancer in her 70s
Oh.
and
Okay.
passed away from it. So I already knew, like, okay, this is probably what this is. I need to be a little bit diligent here.
Yeah.
And I called the doctor, and, like doctor's offices, yeah, we'll see you in a month. And I'm like, my partner was like, no, we need to go. We need to
Yeah.
go straight to their office and see what's going on. And when I went to the office, there was a very kind nurse that said, no, this doesn't look good. I'm going to tell you what to do. And I said, what? She goes, check yourself into emergency at this hospital. We'll know exactly what's going on. And then when they did they aspirated the liquid, they found out that it was malignant. And then within 5 days, I had emergency surgery, and I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer stage 3C. Yeah, which was very late. And when
Yes.
I went into chemo after surgery, they were like, okay, well, this is the reality. If this doesn't work, you have 7 months to live, which
Oh,
was wild.
wow. Oh my God. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I mean, what was your state of mind when all that happened?
I mean, you go through a state where you're like, oh my God, this is it. This is
Yeah.
it. What, did I do all the things that I wanted to do? My family, you start going through this sort of, replay of your life because you feel like it's going to be over.
Yeah.
And, when I realized, I would say that probably lasted for like 2 days. And then I thought about it. I'm like, there's some people who don't even get a chance, right?
Right.
Where they're
Yeah.
just given the
Yeah.
news, like, that's it. Like, we can't
That's
help you
it.
anymore. You have to go home.
Right.
Like, that's it. So
Yeah.
the fact that I felt I had a chance, I felt that there was no room to sulk. It was more like fight or flight. So then I went
Yes.
into fight mode, and I went
Yeah.
into, okay, I have to like really gear up for this, and I really have to, get into the right frame of mind, because if I don't, and get into that sickly state, then it's probably not going to be good for me. And it was like a 360. I just started getting into fight mode. And after the first chemo session, I saw my numbers dropping. Then I'm like, okay, this is going to work. We're going to be able to get past this. And, in my mind, I was thinking there are people who live with stage 4 for many, many years. I just need to push through. And what made me push through even more, again, was being in these waiting rooms and seeing children or older people. And it's just like, oh my God, like, I've at least lived, like,
Yeah.
this poor child is not. I saw a pregnant woman in there. Like, there was so many
Oh, wow.
things that I felt like I was better off than some of these poor souls who might not have a chance. And that was something else that made me feel like, don't be Yorona here. Like, let's go,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah.
And, I do feel that when you're in that state, you have to really switch up your mental, because
Yeah.
then if you fall into a depressive state, it makes things worse. If you get into a more positive mind frame, in a more positive state of mind, it does help you get through the battle, and
Right.
help you fight harder.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of what I did, and just pushed as much as I could. And thankfully, now it's been over 2 years and I'm cancer free. And, it wasn't
Wonderful.
easy. Yeah, it
No,
wasn't easy for anybody out there battling. I know it's not easy, but if you take it day by day with positivity, and
yeah.
know that if you wake up and you have the chance to fight, then we are so much better than some other people, right? So you have to
Yeah.
take that, positivity, and know that there's someone out there that's worse off, and
Yeah.
that doesn't have the opportunity that I had to do chemo, or the opportunity that I had to have a surgery. You know what I mean? Or the opportunity that I had to be cancer free, you
Wow.
know?
Wow.
So
Wow.
you that's the way I
Congratulations.
push through.
Yeah, no, I think when people say cancer, like you freak out like immediately and you
Mhm.
start going downhill mentally. But you're right. You have to stay positive because in my what I believe is that it's it's psychosomatic. So if you're
Mhm.
thinking it, it will be in your body. And
Absolutely.
your body is the first to tell you there's something wrong.
And I've never
And
been really that type of person to think that way until I was in this position. But exactly what you said, you know, when you hear mind over matter, that type of thing, I really do believe that holds so much weight.
yeah.
Throughout chemo, throughout surgery, throughout everything, I still ran all my businesses.
Oh my
And
God. Wow, tremenda. Dios
yeah,
mío.
because it helped me.
Really?
If not, I
Yeah.
would be sitting there thinking, you know, am I going to
Yeah.
die? I got to do
No.
chemo again. Of course, I would have those 3 to 4 days where you feel really sick because I had 3 weeks, 2 weeks in between my chemo sessions.
Yeah.
So I would have
Uh-huh.
like 3, 4 days where you're done, right? And then I would
Right.
start coming back to life, and then I would get to work for that week and a half, and then
Oh,
until I had to do it again for 6 months.
wow. Wow. God, you have to have the strength and the power, meaning
Yeah.
like just have that download, that the strength from your higher power to say, I will be well, all
Hmm.
will be well.
Yep.
And not I know there's days that are like, oh, I know because we all have bad days.
Yes.
And I could just imagine when you're afflicted with something so chronic. I'm sure there may be more often than not.
Yes.
But what advice would you say to someone who's going through this
I would say
themselves?
there's if you're given an opportunity to fight it,
Yeah.
and there you will be on the other side. You know, I promise you. People that even with stage 4 can live for decades with it.
Mhm.
Nowadays, with the way technology and the medicine is, cancer isn't almost always a death sentence anymore. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
there's so many remedies, there's so many clinical trials, there's so many things. Every day it's getting more and more advanced. There's always something new every day for any type of different cancer. And I've seen so many people come out of this successfully. So
Yeah.
as long as the doctor's giving you some opportunity, that means
Yeah.
you're still living, you know, and you have to
Yeah.
act like
Yeah.
that. You have to live. And I
Yeah.
promised myself too, if I made it through, that I would live life to my potential, right? Which is why I
Yeah.
do all
Yeah.
these things and have 25 companies and 20, you know, because
Oh
I felt like, man, if I'm given a chance, I don't want to squander that and not
right.
live to my potential. You know, you have to make life changes. Like I don't drink anymore because it can
Yeah.
increase your chances of a reoccurrence by over 30%. You
Wow.
know,
Is that really? I
that
had
is
no
very
idea.
true. Yes.
Oh
So I
wow.
have a choice.
God.
My doctor's like, you can have 5 drinks a month. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I mean, what's the point?
¿Para
Either,
qué?
you know,
Yeah.
once a year, I'll probably do a nice expensive bottle of wine to celebrate like a birthday or something like that,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
very rare. Like I don't, you know, I just feel like I was given this chance, and that's one thing, you
Yeah.
know, little things like I can't eat
Yeah.
processed meat. You know, do I miss
Yeah.
bacon? Yes, I do. But you know what I mean? I was given this chance, and it's like, you know, those little things
Yeah.
like that, those little life changes
Right.
that, you know, I'm not as a health nut as some other people, but just those things that I had to implement in my life to change it to be able
Yeah.
to live longer.
Yeah. No, truly incremental
Yeah.
steps, compounds. Wow. Goodness. Wow. I mean, to come full circle from from just being at the L word and then going through this scare and then letting us know that you have 25 companies and it's like amiga like
A bit of an
wow
exaggeration, but yeah.
this is so inspirational on
Yeah.
so many levels and
We
I
hear
really
the phrase
honor
like si
this.
se puede, and I really do feel like anything in
Oh yeah.
life, there's nothing that we cannot overcome, right? I really
Right.
do strongly believe that. Like, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I'm, you know, a Latina from Highland Park with a high school diploma. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I grew up in the hood in the 90s when gangs were crazy and things were,
Yeah.
were scary. And, I really do feel that, with a lot of positivity and hard work, anybody could be anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, amiga, you're handling your shit. And if you have any tips, additional tips on how to handle your shit, please. I'd love to hear it from you.
I feel that to handle your shit, and what I would tell all the amigas out there is to stay diligent and
Mm,
to be a force in whatever it is that you're doing in life. Whether you're a
mm,
mom, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're, just people, whatever it is, just be a force in what you're doing and do it with conviction, do it with positivity, do it with grace, do it with hard work. And,
yeah.
that will give you such a sense of happiness and accomplishment, no matter
Yeah.
what it is. And there's
Right.
really nothing that you can't do in life. It sounds like a cliche, but it's very true. There's really
True.
nothing out there that anyone can't do in life. So if there's something that you're wanting to pursue, something that you're thinking about pursuing it, take it from me. Life is short. Get out
Yeah.
there and do it. Get out there and do
Yeah.
it. Make it happen.
It, my God, from your words to God's ears, for sure. Thank you so much, Rose. Is there anything you'd like for us to say here and on Amiga before I let you go?
No, thank you so much. It was an honor to be here. To, everyone out there listening, thank you for having me and keep supporting your amazing podcast. And yeah,
Yeah.
let's keep uplifting each other. That's what life's about, right? We uplift each other, we support each other, we give each other these amazing platforms. And everyone out there, take care of yourselves, go to your doctor's appointments, get checked, and that's it.
Super important. Oh my
Yes,
goodness. I know, even when you think like, oh, I'll push it back, push it back. No. In this regard, we need to be stubborn
I agree.
and get it done and
I
get it
agree.
done. Oh my goodness, mujer. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you so
Wow.
much for having me. Thank you.
You're so valiant and so impressive and on so many levels. I'm so thankful to have you here
Thank
with
you. I
us at
appreciate that. That
Amiga.
means a lot to me. And I'll come back anytime. Thank you. And,
I will.
I appreciate it.
I'm like, ooh, when is this festival?
Come through. It'll be so much fun. You'll have the best time.
I bet I will. I'm like, but it's not just open for lesbians, it's open for
It's open for
everyone or
everybody. Yeah, we're
okay.
it's a good time. And even if
Yeah.
you don't want to come for the full festival, you can come up for the Sunday pool party. You can just come up to
Yeah.
hang out for a day. It's a good time.
Awesome. Well, we'll be sure to put everything in the show notes. And so for those amigas can go and see you in action. And I'm just grateful that you're here, Rose. And
Thank you. I
oh my
appreciate
goodness,
that.
I appreciate you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for being on Amiga
Take care,
Handle Your Shit
everybody.
podcast.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.